What do you want to talk about?
You want to do a little football stuff when we come back?
Who couldn't use that? You can also visit us at abcfinanceonline.com, where you can even apply for loans online.
Or just give us a call and we can take your application over the phone. Or stop by. No appointment is needed and walk-ins are welcome.
All loans subject to normal credit approval.
This is the Sideline Report on 1580 103.3 WPKY. We've got Tom Rogers and Ed Marlowe in the studio this morning, and we appreciate them coming over and being on the show. And we were talking a little bit about football earlier, and Tom, you mentioned the Caldwell County Christian County game coming up. That's going to be an interesting matchup. I think Christian's probably going to be favored a little bit, but I think it's tough to read into what Caldwell has right now because of those two tough scrimmages.
Well, and, Christian County, they scrimmaged Mayfield, got clocked. But that's a lot of people going to get clocked by that one. They had played better second day of the 7-on-7 at Best of the West. They played a little bit better at Austin Peay last week. Quarterback play is going to that's key for Christian County, how well Jordan Miles plays. And the coaches are still trying to get him to get rid of the ball quicker and get it to their speed on receiver. Now, Christian County also is the home of the news of the week this week in high school football in this area because one of the state's best baseball players decided, I want to play football for my senior year. So Elijah Underhill is now on the roster at Christian County. You don't figure he's coming out to ride the bench. And so the question is, where do they put him?
And that's a kid that's now headed to Eastern Kentucky to play baseball, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Changed from west to east.
Western Kentucky had changed coaches. There was a coaching switch there. Certainly it would have fit. I forget who they actually hired, but it was a big-time JUCO hire. But Elijah Underhill had been recruited under the previous regime and decided to search out a different opportunity. So, I don't know. I graduated with his father, Chase Underhill. Chase is a big-time Dallas Cowboys fan. I'm not surprised Elijah's playing football. That's a football-loving family all the way up to the grandparents and other grandkids and things like that. But I agree with Tom. I mean, I will say this. You don't want to jeopardize a scholarship, so you probably aren't going to be a lineman or a linebacker. You're not taking a high-profile defensive position. But Underhill at quarterback is interesting. He's super athletic. At wide receiver, he'd be interesting.
Got a big arm.
Huge arm. And DB, I could see him playing some DB or some safety, playing some long-rangey. He's a good outfielder. So be interesting to see where he lines up on Friday night.
The thing overall for Christian County is they got to get points on the board. They struggled last year to put points on the board. And
they had their moments.
They've still got to find a way to get points on the board. And what that involves, who knows? Blake Ladson has come in. His system's a little different. Can they put enough points on the board? Because their schedule's killer.
It is.
Their district schedule is just absolutely, when you got to play South Warren, Greenwood, and Bowling Green in the district, that's,
One of the other things that I'm slightly concerned about, and I think Christian County's got some great athletes, and I think they're going to have a fun season, but you had Ricky Garris last year. Then consolidation, becomes, a permanent thing. Now all of a sudden there's so many different changes both at Christian County and at Hopkinsville. How much have the kids been able to absorb over the summer? I'm not attacking. I'm simply asking the question. They had started to get used to Ricky Garris' system by the end of the year and where that was headed, and then things changed so abruptly after the season ended. And they had a tough season last year. But Jordan Miles, you saw him a couple times. Tom, you saw him a lot. I saw him 2 or 3 times. When he does special things, he keeps the team, in the game. Against Murray last year, he had 200, 150. I mean, just could not be stopped.
They got to keep him upright.
Yeah.
Last year he ran for his life a lot.
He did. Yeah, absolutely.
And he got hurt. And a couple of times they had to bring in Jashawn Riley. And teams then knew that it was generally going to be a running game when Jashawn came in.
Yeah.
And so they would stack the box and just completely shut them down.
Right.
So they've got to find a way to move the offense and get points on the board.
Well, a tough situation for any team, though, when you have 3 head coaches in 3 years, and the future is uncertain at this point.
Oh, it's very uncertain. I mean, they're still trying to determine whether they're even going to. I mean, I know they're going to build a school, but when? And when is the consolidation truly going to happen? When is the team actually coming together? I think everybody is anticipating this year as the final year for both schools, and they want to send them out the right way. But I think some of that may even still be up in the air. When is the consolidation truly going to occur and the rosters collude into one? That's an uncertainty that everybody's trying to navigate.
Because from the athletic standpoint, you really either need to merge them after this year or wait 2 years to really make it smooth, because especially for a football standpoint, it creates all kinds of havoc if they don't merge after this year. Because then you got 2-year contracts, you got classification of, you got Hoptown County 1 year and then the academy the next year. Where do they play? Who do they play? And whose schedule do they follow?
Certainly not a 4A.
Yeah.
I mean, they're 6A. So you put a 6A school like that in a 4A program, it'd be a window for a state championship. I don't care who the offensive and defensive lines are, because you're just so deep all around. So I'm glad it's not my problem, quite frankly.
Well, isn't that a little bit like Mercer County a few years back? Wasn't it Mercer?
Mercer got to play in a lower class because they had merged.
Yeah.
And they had those other kids, and they won a state championship.
They were dominant. Yeah.
Speaking of districts, the one that Caldwell County plays in Class 2A, Ed, it's a tough one.
Oh, it's absolutely a tough one. I mean, the Battle of the Birds is tomorrow, Mayfield and Graves. I think in my heart of hearts, that's one of those games. And I know Caldwell will think a lot about this as their season rolls along. A lot of people in Western Kentucky impacted by the tornadoes of early December, but I mean, probably no community more. I'm not trying to rank communities impacted by the tornado, but that is 2 football teams that were definitely impacted by the tornado. So I know the Battle of the Birds has a really special meaning this year. It should be a pretty solid game, but Mayfield's really good, and I know that's such you and I talked about that about a month and a half ago. Such an easy thing to say. They have so much talent on both sides of the football, and it goes on down. Murray opens with Crittenden. Murray's going to be pretty solid this year. They've got 2 or 3 kids that are absolutely just phenomenal athletes on the outside. I know that Caldwell knows the other Tigers really well, and and then of course you look at the rest of that district. Fort Campbell. I mean, they're just trying to build.
They will be better. I got a chance to see Fort Campbell last Friday night down at Clarksville at Northeast Jamboree. They'll be better. Their numbers are up. They have some size. They have some kids that can play. Doesn't mean they're going to win a district title. They'll be better. I think they beat Ballard. And get in. Of course, the good thing for the Fort Campbell kids was after all they went through last year, they got to end their season. They were one of the few schools that ended on a positive note.
It's true.
Because they beat Webster County in the regular season finale.
Right.
So they got to go into the offseason and saying, hey, we won a game.
At the buzzer, wasn't it?
No, I think that was pretty – they handled them pretty nicely.
I couldn't remember if they had scored late to take the lead or either way.
But it was a win for them. I think they're better. I think they beat Ballard. They may be able to beat Webster again. They get to play Caverna. They get a chance to get some wins, and they've got some talent. They've got a freshman running back down there who is one of those low, built-to-the-ground running backs, hard to see, but he's not afraid to take it up inside. Quarterback is a running quarterback who can throw when he needs to. Now, they just, the rebuild on that program is to how to win again.
I'm going to give Caverna a little credit, though. Last year, they played a non-district schedule. They're not in Class 1A anymore, at least not for the rest of this term. But they won 5 games last year. Now, granted, they scheduled appropriately, scheduled teams that are more befitting of Caverna's nature, but they are not part of Class 1A District 1. And that was one of the longest drives. The Fulton County to Caverna was a 4-hour drive from Horse Cave to the other side of Fulton County, but Caverna was able to come away with 5 wins last year, and that's the first time that they'd done that since, I believe, 2008, 2009. So double-check my math there. But, I mean, are they going to beat Fort Campbell? Be a competitive game, so I think that'll be fun.
The good news is this year is that we're not going to see the same teams in the playoffs. We've gone back to the cross district.
Thank goodness.
Which means Caldwell and Murray won't play twice in 4 weeks.
I'll take the letter O out of that and say thank God. Just because I honestly, I don't know why that I mean, somebody smarter than me tell me why that even happened, because
they claimed for travel that it made travel easier the first 2 rounds.
Why would
you and I saw
that?
this happen the first time they did it.
Yeah.
When gas prices went up, they did it because then they said of expenses. That wasn't mentioned as a reason this time. And it's
I think coaches
horrible.
hated it.
They did. Most everybody did.
Yeah.
It was awful because you're playing a team you just played 2 or 3 weeks ago.
And I don't mean this like this sounds. This is going to sound terrible because you play to win the game. Thank you, Herm Edwards. But why would you play a team that you just played 2 weeks ago when you likely know the outcome? Why would you even show your playbook the first time around when the second time around is the one that matters?
At least for your 4 seeds, you get to go see somebody different.
Yeah.
Even if you're going to get clocked the first week, you get at least to go somewhere.
You visit a different part of the state, which I think is just an unheralded part of what high school athletics is all about. You learn about the Commonwealth. But number 2, you're going to learn a different system. You're going to have to learn a different coaching staff. You're going to have to learn different players, and you mentally prepare better. I think it just makes a better athlete all around.
A perfect example, I was doing Fort Campbell on the radio about 4 years ago. They got beat by Mayfield late in the season by 48, 50 points.
Classic Mayfield.
Guess who they get to play first week of the playoffs?
Right.
Mayfield. Get beat by 50 again, and I'm like, why?
Where's the experience there? And that's no disrespect. I'm not disrespecting Fort Campbell.
That brings up a whole other conversation of we need to go back to winner and runner-up only getting in the playoffs. But that's, if you're going to have the 4, at least give them the experience. The cool thing was before that year, Fort Campbell at least got to make a trip to Adair County or to South Warren when they were coming up, starting the program. At least you got to go somewhere, see something different, see some different facilities, and get exposed to something different.
Yep.
Yeah, it just seems like it's the playoffs. It feels like the playoffs when you have that unknown opponent, whether you're going on the road or whether they're coming to your place. When it's just, hey, let's go to Murray again. It's just same old, same old. It seems like a regular season game.
I totally agree. If we're actually going to talk about generating revenue for some of these smaller schools, play a different opponent. I totally agree in that regard. Anytime I'm watching high school athletics, don't get me wrong, I like a good classic rivalry where all the Western Kentucky teams from Bowling Green over to the river decide to mash up in the playoffs. However, when it comes to the first and the second round, when we're talking about revenue, let's get some people we don't know.
You're still going to get those familiar matchups probably in the second round if both are
Right.
good enough.
Sure.
But, I mean, like this year, the Caldwell County District, you could have Mayfield taking on McLean County.
Mm-hmm.
Murray taking on Hancock County. Todd Central taking on maybe Caldwell County.
Yeah, absolutely,
And,
totally possible.
You could get that mix of at least something different.
Well, yeah, and you look at the matchups. Football's all about matchups. So if you've played somebody, like I said, Ed, you bring up a great point. If you know you're going to play the same team twice, you might as well rope-a-dope them the first time.
I might as well give you literally just, let's just take it Tecmo Bowl style. Up A. We're just running the gut, outside, inside, and just rotate them out. I'd flip a coin. Yeah. I'd have 4 plays on a call sheet, and this is why I'm not a high school football coach. I'd have 4 plays on a call sheet, and I swear to goodness, I'd probably just roll the dice, literally roll dice on the sideline and be like, well, here's the play we're running. Because you're just as good. Why would I show you my playbook 3 weeks when I'm going to see you 3 weeks later? I would give you 1 page of my playbook and say, good luck, go find some tape.
Yeah, because the important game is the playoff game.
It's absolutely the most important game.
Back on the games itself, are we actually looking at a Caldwell-Murray game again to decide the 2-3?
Probably, although we thought that last year, and Caldwell won at Murray and thought they had a home game in the playoff, and then Murray went to Mayfield and beat them, and
sure did.
We ended up going to the RPI to determine.
And that's why Class 2A is awesome.
And then it was like a .004 difference or something, and that got Murray a home game and had Caldwell heading back to Callaway County again.
Well, and then you take into consideration what Mayfield did to Murray in the playoffs, and that was just that was just Mayfield finally just being like, look, we've got to get over this hump. It's a great rivalry, but Murray, had won the last couple, and especially the 1 year prior was in triple overtime and in the playoffs at Mayfield. So a lot of, I would say, some smarting players over in Mayfield that were pretty frustrated that series had shifted in Murray's favor, and I think it was 55-18, 55-19. Mayfield laid the hurt, and and that's really the foundation. Graduation of Kylan Galbraith is, with him going to Murray State. He played on SB 128 last year, anyways. But we all know what Juju Starks can do this year. Jatorius Starks is going to be really, really good.
First play of the scrimmage.
They're going to be good.
Christian County, he took it 75 yards off tackle, 75 yards.
He's just a talented player, and they've got a lot of guys wrapped around him. Jax Rogers is healthy and back. I want to bring it up, the WPSD Gridiron Glory top 10. Got a Caldwell County man in there, a couple Mayfield guys in that mix, a couple Tillman guys in them. It's going to be 2A is going to be really interesting this year.
Need to pass along a couple of reminders. Number one, the girls' soccer game that was set for Saturday night has been postponed. Well, for the moment, we don't know when they're going to play because, as Tom and I talked about earlier, they can't get officials for that game. Tom, the guys' game is still good for 4 o'clock Saturday at University Heights Academy. It's just the girls' game they can't get officials for.
So I guess there's no chance that they would move the girls' game over to University Heights and go ahead and get them both in.
Or move the guys' game here, which would be more convenient for me. So,
Why don't they take your convenience into consideration?
Yeah, no, nobody ever asked, Ed. Nobody ever asked. But it would be great to play them in the same place because, I think you're going to get a bigger crowd, and then you could use the same set of officials for both games. But, let's face it, Caldwell's girls don't want to give up a home game in the championship. University Heights boys don't want to give up a home match in the championship, so is there someplace in the middle we could meet? Could we play at Sinking Fork or something?
I don't think they got a field there at Sinking Fork Elementary. Crittenden County is the one that would have to travel a little further than anybody on that matchup, so it'd be interesting to see when they try to play that because everybody else had their weeks drawn up for next week. Plus, you still got to get that one in so you can get the sectional game scheduled.
Right. And one other thing, Caldwell's girls have never won the All-A Classic. So, it's always good to throw that out there because somebody always texts me and lets me know. So
they never have won it. So.
Right.
I got ready to – I was really looking forward to Friday night. I had already kind of pre-built a feature in my head. I was looking forward to the Caldwell Lion girls soccer game that I was going to cover because everybody else in Western Kentucky and their families and their grandfamilies were going to be watching high school football. And so I was going to get to take in this – European football experience of soccer.
Well,
and
then
there's
they had to
another thing.
cancel.
They canceled that one, and now they could have played that one.
Yeah, they canceled it to get the All-A Classic game in, and now the All-A Classic game is up in the air, but it will be played sometime.
This is what it's going to be like all fall, folks.
Yeah.
For those listening, you need to keep up with the schedules, keep listening for the schedule changes. This is going to happen all fall.
It will.
We're talking with Tom Rogers and Ed Marlowe this morning on the Sideline Report. Need to squeeze in one more break, but we'll be back with more. Stick with us here on 1580, 103.3 WPKY.
Community Medical Clinic in Princeton is accepting new patients of all ages. They accept all insurances. If you're uninsured, they offer a sliding scale program and self-pay options.
Your Weather Edge Weather Center forecast, sunny skies and 84 expected this afternoon. Then tonight, partly cloudy with a low around 63. Friday, sunny skies and a high of 85. And Friday night, mostly clear with a low around 65. Then we open the weekend Saturday with mostly sunny skies, high of 86. And Saturday night, a slight chance of showers after midnight, mostly cloudy with a low around 67. But back to this afternoon, we've got sunny skies and a beautiful 84.
It's an excellent time to purchase a new set of tires and take advantage of the new mail-in rebates of up to $200 on selected tires. Good tread depth and the correct air pressure in your tires can lead to improved fuel economy, increased handling and safety, more responsive braking, and a smoother ride. All things that make for a great summer road trip. Trice Hughes in Princeton is the one-stop shop for everything your vehicle needs. For more information, visit tricehughes.com. That's tricehughes.com.
Get ready for back to school with Health First Community Health Center, offering physicals, immunizations, ADHD treatment, and well-child, sick child visits. At Health First, we offer affordable, quality health care for the entire family. We accept K-CHIP, Medicaid, Medicare, and all major commercial insurance. A discount program is available based on income and household size. Call today to make your appointment at 1-877-667-7017.
We are back on the Sideline Report here at 1580, 103.3 WPKY. Tom had to run, so we're going to finish up the show this morning with Ed Marlowe and talk just a little volleyball. The Caldwell County Lady Tigers off to a 1-0 start after winning at Callaway County on Tuesday. Caldwell's girls will be at Heritage Christian Academy tonight. Next Tuesday, they'll play their first home match of the season against Webster County. And because of the work going on in the CAB gym, Lady Tigers will actually be playing that game down at the Caldwell County Middle School Gymnasium. So if you're going to volleyball, it's going to be at the middle school until the work gets done up at the CAB. So keep that in mind. And Ed's going to be interesting in the second region this year. Henderson County is the defending champion, but I see Madisonville North Hopkins is up there in the rankings, and it seemed like for a long time second region volleyball was, well, is it going to be Henderson or Caldwell? And now there are some other teams trying to sneak into the mix.
Well, before I even mention that, did want to ask, when is Heritage Christian Academy? You brought up a memory here. When is their transition to the KHSAA complete?
They will be eligible for postseason play next season if they desire to actually join a district and play. They don't really have to. I mean, you can sit out a district if you need to, but
sure.
I think in some sports they will be competitive. There'll be other sports like basketball that it'll take them a little while to get up to speed, I think. But I really think with the merger over at Christian County and Hopkinsville that maybe a few basketball players will end up at HCA, and so they may be more competitive more quickly than we anticipate.
And Hopkinsville can provide that. Going back to second region volleyball, number one, it's great that the season's off and running. I think that's good news. We were talking about about 40 minutes ago the chaos that is the fall as everybody gets together. Well, you think about volleyball. I mean, bluegrass games were 3.5 weeks ago? Yeah, I think Scott Brown was up there. Several people up covering for that, but that's usually the slam kickoff for volleyball. But I've always known in all my years of covering sports that the two teams, some iteration of McCracken County, be it Lone Oak prior to now, is going to be dominant in the first region, and in the second region it's Henderson or Caldwell. So the one thing I will say about that, I don't know a ton about regional volleyball, but I will say this. I think that's a testament to what Caldwell County and Henderson have been able to do. Other teams watch those programs. Other teams observe how they build championship level and championship caliber teams and have wanted to become a part of that. So that's how you get these stories. McCracken softball was so good for 8-9 years, and they're still good. They're great. But there have been years where Marshall County, Ballard Memorial knocking them off in one of the biggest upsets in state history. Teams see those teams and want to become like that, so they train like that in the offseason. So it's cool to see teams like Madisonville and other programs wanting to get where Henderson and Caldwell County have already been.
Well, and it was just a couple of years ago that we saw a McCracken County, Caldwell County volleyball match here that was actually a state tournament match.
I actually was I had just been let go at the Paducah Sun when that season and that game came along, and I knew then that it was very, very possible, and that was a cool moment, I thought, for Western Kentucky, and it was a really, really, I read about it, it was a really, really good matchup. It wasn't like a 25-8, 25-7, 25-2. It was, my memory doesn't serve me too well, but I would say probably 25-18, 25-20, 25-21, three close sets.
Caldwell had its chances in just about every set. So, I mean, but when you're playing a really good program like McCracken County, all it takes is, a point here or there, and it kind of swings the set, and the next thing you know, it's 25-22, and you lost, and you're moving on to the next set.
Let me ask you this. I feel like it'd be better for me to ask you this question. What is it about Caldwell County volleyball that has helped it maintain the success? I understand that coaching plays a big part, but I'm from Cadiz. I grew up in Princeton. Why did Princeton gravitate to volleyball? What changed and what got people involved to build a program like that?
I think Sue Stone is 99% responsible for all of Caldwell County's volleyball success. Not to downplay what Daniel Kortner has done, because he's kept that ball rolling right on along.
Right.
But she was able to get some athletes out. She was able to instruct them properly. And you could just tell when Caldwell would play a lot of teams that the level that Caldwell was playing at was a lot higher than what the other teams were playing at. That they were actually trying to set the ball and run an offense and, get that big kill at the net. And a lot of other teams are still running, just bump it back over and extend the point. So I think Caldwell got off to a head start because of Sue.
Just basically running an offense.
Yes.
It is interesting for you to say that, because volleyball can be a big scramble mode. A lot of times you're just scrambling to stay alive. Well, if you're organized to get a point, I know that sounds like such a vanilla way to describe it, but that's a great way to put it. If you can organize in high school to create a point in volleyball and intentionally get it to certain parts of the net so that you get those attacks and the better kills, then it certainly bodes well in high school volleyball.
Well, and Sue Stone was also responsible, and sometimes we forget, for 3 very good players, her daughters, who all came through the program as well. So
that's part of it. I mean, and that helps too. But I'm just trying to think about. It's not like I drive down 62 and I see, there's a volleyball center. That's what's changing it.
Right.
Or you go to other locations, you see a good football facility, a good baseball facility, a good, so on and so forth, or a little league that helps promote. That's why softball fast pitch is so popular in Paducah and so successful, is because they all grew up for the last 35 years playing slow pitch, fast pitch. Years and years and years of experience there, and the little leagues promoting those children to the middle school and high school ranks, and that's how they've developed championship level teams at the high school level. I just don't, like I said, I don't come in to Princeton, like the 2 or 3 instances of Princeton, and be like, well, there's a volleyball facility and that's why they're good. Yeah. So, in my mind, I'm wondering why did Princeton become this bastion for volleyball? And that's a great explanation you gave.
Yeah, I just think they got out ahead of everybody else a little bit, and like I said, Sue Stone responsible for most of that, getting the program going, teaching the fundamentals, getting a youth program started. So those things are all good, and promoting volleyball. Now it seems like, though, we have more programs involved, because for the longest time it was Caldwell and Henderson. Now Madisonville's kind of thrown its hat into the ring. Crittenden County has an improving program. Webster County got all the way to the championship match of the region last year. So, another thing about the Caldwell volleyball program, there's at least 3 ladies now that are head coaches in the state of Kentucky at volleyball programs, and probably at least that many more who are assistant coaches. So that kind of shows you where the Caldwell volleyball program has been, and the knowledge in that program that there's so many head coaches around.
There's a feature story there somewhere.
Yeah. This is the Sideline Report on 1580, 103.3 WPKY, Princeton, Kentucky. Thanks a lot for tuning in this morning. I appreciate Tom Rogers coming over. Appreciate Ed Marlowe being on the show this morning. And Ed, busiest time of the year as a sports guy. You used to know that soon as late July gets here, you're on the clock if you're a sports guy.
You better have used all your vacation time, I think. And I'm really looking forward. I will, knock on wood, I will see a little bit of sports this year. I saw a smidge last year in my first season at WKDZ. And, some things happen. Big news year. Some of it positive, a lot of it negative. And that, of course, pulled my attention. If I've got some free time, wife and I don't have plans, I do plan on covering a few sporting events this year. I'm looking forward to a few high school football games. Got a handful that Tom and I have talked about that are going to be more my way. My wife and I live in Murray, and so I'm looking forward to catching a few games. And then when basketball season gets around, I'm almost finished with Cat's Paws, first and second region. I will have those in the Cat's Paws this year for boys and girls, and we can discuss those when they come out. But can't make everybody happy. Second region's really good. First region's really good. A lot of great talent. And learning a lot about the second region in the last couple of weeks, talking with coaches and what they expect for this season. But, this is a busy time of year. And, I'm looking forward to it. I'm gonna catch what I can. And what I can't, I look forward to reading from everybody else.
One sport we haven't really talked about, but that's golf. We mentioned it very briefly. The second region All-A Classic golf tournament is Saturday down at Deer Lakes Golf Course in Salem, and that'll be interesting. Although on the girls' side, I understand Catherine Brown from Lyon County is not playing. Caldwell's Claire Noth is not going to play this year in the All-A Classic, so that kind of takes a little of the sting out of that event. But the guys could be interesting. Caldwell has a couple of golfers that could be in the mix. Crittenden County playing down there will have some golfers score low, so it'll be interesting.
So they play in the second region, All-A?
Yes.
Okay. So walk me through that. How does Catherine Brown compete for a first region title but a second region All-A?
Well, because the KHSAA regions are different than the All-A Classic regions.
Interesting. Okay.
Caldwell, Trigg, and Lyon County in golf are in the first region.
Right.
In the All-A Classic, they're in the second region. So
that's wild.
Yeah.
I did not. That's something I had missed over the years, but I did not realize that at all.
It gets confusing.
That's a bit of a blend. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm glad Caldwell, as we all know, the women have a state title You know, I won it here at Princeton Country Club.
1977.
That's right. I was -8.
I was +8, so
there we go. My mom was a sophomore / junior. 77 spring would have been, I think, my mom's sophomore year here at Caldwell County High School. She was getting ready to go in her junior year, 1978. She's class of 79 from here at Caldwell. But I digress. Yeah, that's such a weird middle line, you know, because I think about when I was working at the Paducah Sun and in Western Kentucky, I always figured Livingston Central would be in the first region because Smithland is only 15, 20 minutes from the office. You take the Ledbetter Bridge and you're there, Drake Creek and the high school. But you're not, you know, there's second region. So it's you've got to draw a line somewhere. I get that there are borders, but it's just in my mind, I was just like, well, this doesn't, I don't understand. Why does it feel so far away? But that's just part of it. And it's these alleys, and the second region alley goes from Henderson to Hopkinsville. So,
you know, years ago, Todd County Central was in the second region and then got moved to the fourth.
Fourth, yeah. Which blows my mind. I was talking to Tom Rogers about that last week. I was like, they've got to be in the third, right? They're at least just one away. No, they're in the fourth, which means they have to go all the way to Bowling Green for a lot of games. It's insane.
There was a time when Henderson County, Webster County, Providence, those teams were all third region teams. So,
man. Realignment's cool. I get it. Populations change, shift, move, all for different reasons. But, yeah, Todd County being in the fourth, I just, you know, and your Sports Edge covers Todd County. And so that's an entirely different region that you have to learn, navigate, and understand. Again, exciting, but tough to do.
Yeah, do want to remind everybody there's been a change in the second region All-A Classic Soccer Championship dates. The boys is still the same. Boys will play Caldwell at University Heights Academy Saturday at 4 o'clock. That game is still good. However, the girls were scheduled to play at 6 o'clock, Caldwell County and Crittenden County at Butler Stadium that night. They cannot get officials for that time, so that game will have to be rescheduled. So be on the lookout for a new day and time coming for the second region girls All-A Classic Soccer Championship. That's going to wrap us up here on the Sideline Report this morning. Ed, appreciate you coming over and being on the show again.
Anytime, man.
Appreciate Tom Rogers also showing up on the show and having a chance to talk fall sports here on the Sideline Report. Don't forget middle school football for Caldwell County at home today, 5:30 out at Tiger Stadium. Graves County will be the opponent. Lady Tiger volleyball on the road today over at Heritage Christian Academy in Hopkinsville. Once again, that's going to wrap us up today. This is Todd Griffin of YourSportsEdge.com and WPKY Radio. Thanks for being with us here on 1580, 103.3 WPKY.
WPKY, Princeton. Fox News, I'm Lillian Wu. A monkeypox briefing coming up this morning by the CDC response team and health officials like Director Rochelle Walensky, who's recently dropped this admission.
After years of contradictory and confusing information by their own account over masks, vaccines, boosters, over social